Dear all, I welcome the lecture session for points and crossings of railways. This is Dr. N. Ramesh, Department of Civil Engineering, K.S.Rangasamy, College of Technology. Introduction. The arrangements by which different routes diverging from the first track are connected to facilitate the diversion of trains from one track to another track without any obstruction are known as points and crossings. So it makes the key role in the railway engineering because of without disturbing the rail transport, the tracks are going to be changed from one uh, one path to another path. The points and crossing is the important part. A complete set of points and crossings provides for diverting the trains from a main track to a branch track is known as turnout. The tracks may be parallel to diverging from or converging with each other. Depending on the direction of movements, trains from main tracks, left hand turnout and right hand turnout. These are the important direction movement which are followed in the railway engineering to change the routes of the train. The main is the left hand turnout and one more is right hand turnout. We have see the explanation in the next slide in detail. The diagram is shown the right hand turnout. You see the train starts from A and it's diverted into turnout into C, and if it needs it takes to B. It's shown in the simulation of the figure. The rail track A drives into track B, the straight track. If it needs, it takes to the track C, the diverging track. So whenever it needed, it goes to the straight line from A to B. If it needs, it takes to the A to C, which is the diverging track. So in the continuation of the previous slide, the constitution of the turnout, it is the you see in the train railway track, it is the railway track is going to be, it is a set of check rail, wing rail, and as well as the flare, which is the important part, and the inner straight lead rail and curved portions and tongue, which are very much important, which are the main parts in the constitutions of the turnout, because the overall length is taken into the account, and the theoretical nose of crossing T and C and actual nose of crossing A and C, which are very much important to take the turnout from one path to another path. The main path is the facing direction is the straight path. Another one is the diverging path. Diverging path, there is some inclination like the angle also should be properly maintained. Then only it is easily going to be travel from the diverging path. Here you seeing in the photos you are seeing the main track and then one of the diverging track. The diverging track, which is known as the turnout, here there is a set of check rails are installed and properly aligned with the check rails. So there is the switches are following. The facing direction is the straight and the left hand turnout there is, you see the in the direction of the left side, which is turn out takes place. So which is clearly shown in the photo and in the line diagram also, which is properly the crossing and everything is aligned in proper manner. The main line is right as seeing in a horizontal position, and the turnout also given in the left hand side, so it is called as a left hand turnout. One more, the component parts and functions, a pair of points switches. A switch turnout or set of points is a mathematical installation enabling railway trains to be guided from one track to another. You see in this simulation figure the top side and the bottom side. If it is goes to the top side, you see that blue tick mark is shown in the bottom side if the switches are on. If the switches are taken to the top, it shows the red color track is there. So if it is down, blue color track is taken for the choosing, taken for the consideration. If it is upwards, the red is the track which is taken for the consideration. It is the blue color switch, it is upcoming, it's coming out, and red is the going to outside. Okay, it is the main functions of the switches, a pair of point switches. Next one, a pair of stock rails. A stock rails along with their respective tongue rails from a pair of switches or points. Function of stock rail is to facilitate smooth working of the tongue rails, which is, you see, stock rail, closer rail, and then heels, and then stretcher bars and radius also maintained, and wing rails are provided, and proper splice rails are provided, which is a set of the stock rails. V crossing. The function of V crossing is to provide gaps between the rails to be crossed so that wheel flanges can pass through the gaps without any obstruction. You see the V crossing. Why it is called as a V crossing? In the name itself, the crossing is shown as in the V shape. So here point and stock rails at same polarity, and then guardrail adjoining frog is insulated, and you have seen the insulated joiners as well as the power routing switch mechanically linked to points. So both are working whenever it needs to the straight line or divergent line or turnout is needed. According to the requirement, the switches are working. So it is called the V crossing. The function of main function is the V crossing to provide gaps between the rails to be crossed so that wheel flanges can pass through the gaps without any obstruction. Next slide is to check rails. The function of these rails is to check the tendency of wheels to climb over the crossing. You see the check rails, it is a stock rail and frog and guard rail and hinges and closer rail or the throw bar are the main components which are mainly it is consisting in the two check rails. The main of the tendency of the wheels to climb over the crossing. The function of the check rails is the to climb over the crossing. Whenever the crossing is needed, this type of check rails are the mainly functioning to accomplishment. The four lead rails. The function of these rails is to lead the track from heel of switches to the toe of crossing. You see the lead rails which is shown as the arrow mark, and then whenever we are going to identify the track properly. The heel of switches are properly functioning for the toe of the crossing. Switch tie plate. The function of switch tie plate is to maintain the gauge distance at front of switch stud stop. A bent plate which is jointed to stock rail is called stop. Function of stop is to maintain the alignment. Side chairs. The function of side chair is to support the tongue rails throughout their length. Stretcher bar. The function of stretcher bar is to connect the toes of both the tongue rails so that each tongue rail moves through the same distance. The next slide is the rods, cranks, lever. The function of rods, crank, lever is to operate the points. Here you are seeing the signal and switch stand, switch point, pull rod, slide chair, closer rail and frog and check rail, everything. Next one is the locking system. The function of locking system is to maintain timing between the signal and tongue rails. Crossing. The arrangements by which the different routes are connected without any obstruction is called the crossing. Once again, I going to explain the arrangement of different routes. In a particular railway station, different type of routes are needed to go to the various cities. So the crossing arrangement is mainly needed to reach the platform and take the passengers or take the goods to different points which are connected without any obstruction is called the crossings. Crossing types according to the angle and according to the diversion, the crossings are mainly functioning. So, according to the angle is that engineering design point of view, the angle is provided to take off the crossing. And according to the diversion, which direction and which diversion is needed according to the requirement which is planned for the diversion. So according to angle, so three different type of angles are shown in the figure. First one is acute angle, second one is obtuse angle, and third one is the right angle. So according to the angle, the design is going to be carried out for the functioning of rail. According to the diversion, so there is the five important components are involving in the according to the diversion. First one is crossover, second one is spring, third one is gathering lines, fourth one is diamond, and fifth one is scissors. According to the diversion, five components are following in the rail movement. Acute angle. When the angle of crossing rails become acute angle, then this crossing is called the acute crossing or V crossing or frog. So it is clearly shown in the figure. It is called as a V crossing or frog. That acute angle is following in the crossing. Obtuse angle. When the angle of crossing rails become obtuse angle, then this crossing is called the obtuse angle. In this obtuse crossing, so there is a vingus skin and the traverse skin are following in the design. There is a ferine slind as followed in the design, and various angles are which are given in the that beta and angle is maintained in the crossings. You see the V crossing and straight line crossing as well as a divergent crossing. Everything it should be properly designed for the functioning of the diversion of the train.